Hello friends, Marcy here. I just wanted to come back real quick and show you a little bit of part 2 in my teacher planner setup of an A5 Stalogy. I really like using this method for myself. For one reason, I enjoy drawing my calendars out, and I can customize the planner to fit my needs because I'm a special ed teacher. I have different needs. It's just difficult for me to go to the store or to order a planner for a teacher that has all these boxes, grids, and prescribed pages for things that I don't even use. So it's kind of a waste. I like making my own, and so this will be my third year trying this. And this is my method. In case you've wanted to do it and you're just curious how to start, I start with, of course, this. Let me back up a bit. This is an MD notebook or a Midori, and I ordered it from Amazon March of last year, I believe, and with intentions to use it for my teacher planner. But it came with the plastic cover, which also had a plastic pen loop in the back, so it was a really good deal. And the pages are kind of cream, and the grid is larger in the Midori than it is in the Stalogy. So when I was looking at, I'm gonna put these together. Oops, I'm out of frame, I'm sorry. When I was looking at my grid on here, I put it up like this and I wanted to draw out my calendar. Well, the paper may be the same size, but the grid boxes are not the same size. So I just looked at my grid here, and this is how I process it, and this is what I think about. I did 5 lines, 6 boxes, okay? And then I had a 6x6 square that I created for my calendar. And when I counted that in the Stalogy, my boxes came out smaller. I wanted 4 columns here for Sunday through Wednesday, and then when I counted it out, I ended here. Because the grid is a different size. So I went back and counted. If I do 8 squares and I marked it off here, so there's my Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Sunday. And I like having this little margin on the side, and I'll show you why in a moment. So I can draw my calendar grid boxes just by counting out my grid squares and using a ruler. Now, using a ruler, you can measure by centimeters or inches, however you want to do that. I just like counting grid squares because I like my drawing lines to be on the printed line on the page. I just have to be impossible. So, knowing that July starts on a Wednesday, this is going to be my first box here when I draw. I like to leave the ones blank. I don't like to create boxes where there are no days. You can see that here on June. Oops. Except for that. I like to leave it blank where there are no calendar days. You can, if it's your preference, to go ahead and just draw your square grid, fill in what you want, and use the extra boxes for notes or whatever. But I like to start where the calendar starts and then end where the calendar ends. And then, of course, when I draw these in, I'm not starting at the very top. I will start a few squares down because I want to leave a margin so that I can put the days of the week at the top. Okay, so I'll create one of these and show you. That being said, I'll show you how I count out my weeks, and I'm going to move to this page. Oh yeah, something else that might help you. When I got this Midori, I counted out the grid boxes I had on each page, and I just wrote a note to myself that my page grid was 26 by 40, and I was 26 wide by 40 long on the page. And so the grid boxes on here, on this page, happen to be 48 by 34, and I'm doing that backwards. So it's 48 long and 34 wide because the grid boxes on the Stalogy are smaller. So on my weekly spread, if I count that out, oh, by the way, the first week I didn't have students and I was just making notes for myself, and I had a larger note space because I needed more notes than actual plans there. And as I went through the year, I made my days longer. And of course, I write plans in here, but not like formal lesson plans or detailed lesson plans. It's just ideas or things I need to do or things that are happening that day to keep me on, because all of our lesson plans are submitted digitally. We have to turn them in. We were using Microsoft OneDrive, and then in the last year we switched to some Google platforms. So anyway, so this is just for myself, for my sanity, something that I can look at. These are not my detailed lesson plans, which they happen in another place. But again, I can count out. I know I want 3 columns here for Monday through Wednesday, and 3 columns here because I'm only going to have 2 days of the week, but this last column is for notes. So if I count that out, on here I kind of counted and made pencil marks, and I have 11 spaces, 11 boxes between each that I'm going to draw columns for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then this will be Thursday, Friday, and notes. And then I have already the space for my day of the week header. And of course, I will make my boxes for weather again. And then notes. And I like to do my own scripting or fancy lettering in there. I do have some stickers in my old one just because I had them and I need to use them. But if you have questions on how to proceed in designing your plans or your pages for your plans, it's very simple. Just jump in there and do it. But start with an idea of what you need or what you want the pages to do for you. And then you can divide up your squares, your grids to meet your needs. So jumping back to, where do I want to jump? I think I want to jump to July and show you that when you start, you can use a pencil, of course, when you're drawing your lines. If you ever erase anything in like change, reschedule notes, of course, if your line's in pencil, it will erase. I do know that if you use the Pilot G2 gel pen or even these gel pens on a ruler, they tend to gum up and leave like puddles or like globs of ink through your lines. And so I learned to stay away from those. I could use a Sharpie, I could use some Flair felt tip pens, you know, or pencil, but just find out what works for you. Of course, the Stalogy paper feels like the Midori paper, and again, it's a brighter white, and I'll have to experiment with what pens work best. Let me see if I can find an example. This is a black Flair pen that I drew these lines with. I can't really flip through all these pages at the moment because I didn't cover them all up, and I have things on there as not to share. So you'll discover when you make your lines, if you're using the wrong pen, you'll get ink blobs and smears. Here's an example of one, an ink blob and a smear. So you'll learn what pens work and what pens don't. And as I'm using mine and I share with y'all, I'll be sure to note that in my plans. But I'm gonna get busy and draw out my grids for July and August, and start my weeklies. And I'll get back with you on part 3. Thank you for sharing some minutes with me. Have a blessed day.